Sony themselves is finally demonstrating the power of the PlayStation 5. And it's pretty awesome. Let's get into it. Skip it up and that up. Skip it dip dip dip, don't make it drip. So yesterday Sony held its corporate strategy meeting for 2019. And of course they brought up the PlayStation 5. And they said the two key words for the future of PlayStation is immersive and seamless. Now they talked about the super fast custom SSD that is going to be inside the PS5. But they also talked about the fact it's going to be more powerful, obviously. And they also went on to talk about PlayStation Now and remote play and how Sony wants you to have a gaming experience you could have anywhere, whether it be on your phone, your TV, or your tablet, or whatever. They just want you to be able to play their games, which we know now is going to be a very feasible thing for Sony because we know the whole big deal that they teamed up with Microsoft. They're collaborating with them and they're going to use the power of Microsoft's cloud, Azure, so on and so forth. Microsoft wants to use Sony's image sensors for Azure AI, so they're one hand scratches the other, I think is the saying, or one ass cheek slaps the other. That's not a saying, but that would be a cool one. Well, Takashi Mochizuki was at this corporate strategy meeting, and they actually showed off the PS5's loading times. They had a PlayStation 4 Pro, and they had the PS5, and they loaded up Spider-Man. And it's a world of difference, man. Take a look at the video.
これに比較して現在開発中の次世代機では約 0.8 秒でシーンを読み込み切り替えることができます。
Now, as you see, the PS4 Pro took a little over 8 seconds. The PS5 took less than a second. It's over 8 times faster, its loading times. That's a big deal because the less loading times with upcoming games, the better. Now, beyond those super fast loading times, I didn't find this article newsworthy in and of itself, but it fits into the whole PS5 is going to be insanely powerful thing. Don Schmacher and Goran Sarek of the development company, indie dev company, Akamotive, they made a game called Far Lone Sails. It looks like it's like a puzzle platformer. I just saw some gameplay of it. Honestly, before I read into the story, I didn't hear of the game, but I heard it's really good. They're very excited for the PlayStation 5, and this is what they had to say about it. It will definitely bring console performances closer to PC/desktop settings, which means less optimization for ports, which would be interesting. I hope it's true. Now, look, every time there's a new generation of consoles, you have developers and the corporations making the consoles, hyping them up. Oh, they're going to be so ultra powerful. But when you think back to when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One launched, yes, Old Man Rich is bringing up the story again. The games weren't impressive. It already seemed like developers were tapping out the hardware. I always bring up Battlefield 4. Okay, it ran better on the base, the original launch PlayStation 4 than it did on the Xbox One, but they still couldn't get the game to run at 1080p 60. They had to knock it down to 900p to get it to run at 60 FPS. And on the Xbox One, because that's when Microsoft was all about Kinect back then, they cut back on other things in terms of performance so they could make it hit that $500 price point in bundling Kinect. It only ran at 720p Battlefield 4 on the Xbox One. So, last generation, it was the consoles launched and they were woefully underpowered, especially the Xbox One. So I'd like to see the PS5 and next Xbox launch and be on par with mid to higher range gaming PCs, because the PS4 and Xbox One, granted the mid-gen refreshes were nice, but when the consoles launched in 2013, they couldn't even really do 1080p gaming, man. And 1080p gaming on PC was a thing for years before the PS4 and Xbox One were even on anybody's mind, let alone launched. You know, and when you go back to previous generations, you had people saying like the Xbox 360 was more powerful than any gaming PC you could get, or the PS3 was more powerful than any gaming PC you could get when they initially launched. And to have the PS4 and Xbox One come out and they can't even handle games running at 1080p, and we were already kind of going into 4K televisions being affordable back in 2013, that was a real wah-wah moment, man. It definitely was. So to see Microsoft and Sony like really amping up the specs for the PS5 and next Xbox, I'm pretty excited about too. And those loading times I'm especially excited about. And now that Sony is working with Microsoft on their internet and their cloud gaming and their networking, that means that PSN is going to be much improved over how it is now on the PS4, because it needs a lot of work in my opinion. So these are all good things. I hope these consoles are as powerful as developers and Sony and Microsoft are making them out to be. And I think they're going to be, because they learned a lot of lessons from the mistakes they made with the launch of the PS4 and Xbox One. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.